What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Fallout 76 video on the channel. Now, I don't normally do this type of video, but today I'm going to be talking about the patch for the brand new update version 2.01 released today on January 21st, 2025. The patch was heavily publicised as Fallout 76 Update Day by Bethesda, but nobody knew what it was going to be about as they didn't put out the patch notes until the very last second, and some of the fixes were not even in the PTS. So the main fixes of this update are the Enclave Epsilon squad raid trophy plan is now dropping correctly, and they have also applied the melee nerf to the EN06 Guardian Raid Boss by applying the electric field much earlier into the fight. Let's jump right into it. Okay guys, so to start off, in armour, with T65 Tricentennial paint, it now correctly states that it works with the T65 armour set. In best builds, they fixed an issue where liking or unliking a best build would cause inconsistent text for the button. Camps and workshops, they've improved pet spawns so they no longer get stuck at the border of camps. They've also fixed an issue where some players could no longer build Mow the Mole safety cutout despite knowing the plan. As a side note, they're saying if you have not learned the recipe for the safety cutout, it can be earned from dangerous pastimes. Apparently the vertical spacing between camp slots in the menu has been decreased. They fixed an issue that was preventing the plastiform blue star from being built in camp. They fixed a build menu icon for the winter retreat. They have fixed the build menu icon for the mounted jackalope head. They've adjusted collision on the winter retreat, fixed the build limit for billboards, fixed an abrupt transition when moving out of the snow aurora weather. All instances of the Gleaming Depths shelter are now consistently named. The counterfeit bottle cap machine will now correctly generate lead and aluminium, and the counterfeit bottle cap machine no longer shares a build limit with campfires. Now those two last ones there are quite a big deal. The counterfeit bottle cap machine was actually pulled from the item shop 2 weeks ago because it wasn't functioning correctly, so it's good to see they fixed it there. Moving on to creatures, the Scorch Beast and Scorch Beast Queen no longer continuously fire their sonic blast attack. In events during seismic activity, if the corpse of an Ultrasight Titan remains from a previous run, it will now despawn before the next run. Plastiform rewards now correctly display active instead of use, and they also fixed an issue causing super mutants to drop more caps than expected. Now the most anticipated fixes in this patch, guys, are the Gleaming Depths patches. So the Mothman is no longer whispering in the Gleaming Depths. The electricity hazard on the EN06 Guardian's platform will now become active sooner. The Vulcan Research Lab health and progress bars are now localized. The electric field in the EN06 Guardian fight has been expanded to cover the intended range on the Guardian's platform. And they have fixed an issue where the Epsilon squad trophy wasn't being granted to players who completed the fight in under the required time limit. Okay guys, so that's a pretty big deal. So what they're stating here is the electric field for EN06 has been expanded to cover the intended range on the platform. That's the entire platform, not just the one central ring in the middle. And this pretty much renders melee completely useless and impossible to do in the Gleaming Depths raid first stage. They've also made it so the electricity hazard on the top platform becomes active sooner, and once again this just makes melee for players even more impossible. So that is now patched, guys. So obviously people were taking advantage of it, but it's a shame because now it renders all of the melee players completely unable to do that part of the raid. They've also stated they're still investigating reports of performance issues within the Gleaming Depths raid, so that of course there is a nod to the blue screen crashes and game freezes during the Ultrasight Terror boss fight Snake at the end. They have posted on their Discord about this for multiple platforms being affected, so it looks like they're still working on that there. So in the next section under items, they've added mutation suppression to the effect descriptions for Rad-X and Rad-X Diluted. Now previously it did suppress your mutations, but it wasn't available in the description, so you could accidentally pop a Rad-X and not be aware. In the quest, the Old Western Shuffle, they fixed an issue that would prevent Johnny from shooting at the end of the quest. In the Hunter for Hire quest, they fixed an issue where Roper and Jackie were unresponsive to quest actions. And Novice of Mysteries, they fixed a rare case of a glitch where a quest could get stuck. In weapons now, they've fixed the Carterizer displaying static VFX when on a weapon rack. They've adjusted the smoke effects of the Gauss minigun. The Revolutionary Sword now uses the correct melee weapon icon in the weapon wheel. They fixed an issue where the coloured baseball bats were not displaying their correct textures, and the description of the lickety-split weapon now correctly states that railway spikes shatter and ricochet for up to 30 damage. Moving on to miscellaneous random fixes now. So mute pings and unmute pings are now localized. They fixed an issue where some players are unable to earn the player title Vault and Dweller despite completing Vault 76. Supplies will now correctly display in the Pip-Boy Currencies tab. Owned nuclear winter player icons will now appear again in the Atom Shop. They fixed an issue which could cause VATS firing to be misaligned on some ultra-wide screens. Screen narration accessibility settings will now display correctly in all languages. I'm pretty sure this one's supposed to be on a separate line, but the motorized butter churn will now be found in the Resources tab of the Workshop menu. The seasonal booster widget will now correctly display boosters carried over from the previous season. In the social menu, there should no longer be a blue shadow being cast on the text of player names who are online. They fixed an inconsistent capitalization in some legendary effect descriptions. They fixed a typo in the gold Enclave officer outfit. Player titles will no longer obscure the player's face from a distance. They removed the extra word outfit from the name of the Grim Reaper outfit and headwear. Nuka World on Tour's Bottle Blaster game now correctly calculates the Nukacade points earned. Fixed an issue that caused splash informational screen to not display correctly when launching the game on Xbox. Fixed an issue that was causing mutated party packs to not drop after completing the mutated version of Safe and Sound. So that's a lot of random miscellaneous fixes there. Now we move on to mods. So they've updated the description for the 1-star bolstering mod to correctly state that it grants up to 35 energy resistance and damage resistance the lower your health, currently at XX. They've improved descriptions on the barrel mods for the Karma Syringer. They've improved an issue with the duplicate text in many legendary effect descriptions. The Electrician's 4-star mod now correctly persists after the player dies. Now in the UI, the 4-star legendary flyouts will now display the correct mod and appear and disappear appropriately. Some lunchbox effects now provide more informative descriptions in the Pip-Boy. They've improved the maximum quantity behaviour on the purchase window. They fixed an issue which could cause some UI overlap when viewing item statistics or camp slots. Pip-Boy no longer shows 3D renderings of items after a list becomes empty. They've updated the UI of ammo per shot to show your currently instanced weapon rather than a default weapon value. And finally, the last one, they fixed an issue which could cause the first letter to not display in the disclaimers for AP and carry weight boosters. Now, I don't know about you guys, the only ones I really care about in this entire list are the Gleaming Depths updates. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.